Afternoon, everybody. I'm David. I'm the chairman of UK Whisper. Welcome to this glorious end of May 2025. It's great to meet again so quickly after our 10th anniversary meeting last week. Looking at the state of some people on day 2, hopefully your hangovers have now subsided and you're feeling a bit more normal again. But it was a great event in London, and really appreciate everybody that joined the event. We really enjoyed it. Really crowded, really packed agenda, and I think those who attended got an awful lot of value. So the next event will be in Scotland. We're thinking of doing it in November. We'll get some dates lined up fairly soon, and we'll let everybody know. But highly recommend everybody attends the UK Whisper in-person meetings, because that's one of the most valuable things that members tell us they get from UK Whisper. Today we're joined by Flow Cutter, who were there in force in London last week, and they are a relatively new member of UK Whisper, already making an impact, so already causing a bit of a stir, because they've got a really interesting take on how to see what's happening in your network so using Netflow data. So they're going to tell you the detail, because I will mess it up. First of all, I'd like to introduce our hosts for the day, but just a bit of housekeeping. If you have questions throughout the session, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom. So click the Q&A button. It helps us then to get a record of the questions. So if there is any follow-up that we can't answer on this session today, then it's easier to capture that and then deal with it afterwards. So please use that instead of the chat. The chat is a little bit too disorganized, and it's hard for us to keep on top of it. And we want to make sure that we give everybody good answers to any questions that you might have. So first off, I'd like to ask Philip to introduce himself, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Philip Sklenar. I'm head of partnerships in Flowcutter, and I will start the presentation very quickly, and Matej will introduce himself after me. Will do the demo for you and real examples and practical insights from on the live data.
Thank you very much, Philip. Matej?
Okay. Hi, my name is Matej Pavelka. I've studied physics. I love figuring out solutions to technical problems, and I will walk you through some demonstration of the real use cases, how the Netflow data can be in value for you.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, really looking forward to seeing this in action. I looked at it a few weeks ago in a live demo. I was really impressed. I hope everybody who's watching does as well. So over to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Matej, please share the screen.
I will share the screen.
Start.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see it? Can you confirm it, David? Okay, cool. So once again, my name is Philip Sklenar, and together with my colleague, with our CEO, Matej Pavelka, we'll walk you through how Netflow data and flow data can be a powerful tool for proactive cyber defense. We'll share practical insights from our deployment with over 100 ISPs. Let me quickly introduce Flowcutter. We are a cybersecurity and visibility product built specifically for ISPs. We started in 2021, during the pandemic, and today we are trusted by around 100 ISPs. The goal is to give operators better visibility, be able to detect anomalies fast, and automate the boring but crucial tasks that keep network healthy. Features, what we have right now within our product is Netflow diagnostics. It's for troubleshooting, like real time Netflow data. On top of that, we have anomaly detection. We use just the Netflow data as a data source, and we have features like anomaly detection, vulnerability scan, And also we are able to cover or be compliant with data retention, which is required by the law in Europe. And we see that something similar is for bigger ISPs here in UK. What's coming soon, and we want to present you what will be there or in our product by the end of the year or at the beginning of the next year. So it's automated anomaly detection. At this moment, you can or we can set up it for you, the thresholds and alerting system for the anomalies. It will be automated. It will set up the thresholds by itself. Then we are preparing multi-tenancy, a great feature where you can grant access for your enterprise customers to the Flowcutter instance collector, and these enterprise customers can see their traffic for their public IPs. Then we are preparing also threat intelligence. All these features, also we have more, but these features are in, let's say, later stage of development or in prototype phase, or we are testing it. Okay, why does it matter, or why the troubleshooting? It's really important for you. In the UK, 42% of households report slow connections, and nearly a quarter deal with frequent outages. That's a lot of, it can be a lot of angry support calls. In most cases, the root cause is not, let's say, fiber, radio, or hardware. It's something else. It's misbehaving device. It can be a malware or configuration issue. With Flowcutter, you can see these issues, problems earlier, resolve them faster, and reduce potential churn or churned customers. Okay, that's the beginning from me, and now Matej, stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. So I will talk about two concrete use cases, real life. I will walk you through real life experiences from few of our customers. They actually happened 2 weeks ago during the UK WISPA. So if you saw me there and I was looking at the laptop, it was because I was trying to figure out what is happening. So I will show you that. So it is fresh. I like that. So first use case will be about incoming flood attack. The second use case will be about outgoing attack from one of the operator's customers. And we will spend most of the time on these two use cases. And then we briefly go through some other common visibility blind spot in typical network operation centers and how they can be improved. And if you are really lucky with the time, we can talk about it, about how you can upsell security to your enterprise customers. But let's see. So first, I would like to ask you, but I'm not going to hear the answer. So I will ask you in principle, but will not expect loud answer. If you ever have experienced DDoS attack targeted to your network, think about yourself if you have. And when was it last time? Probably not this year, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, not very often, but you have experienced it. Now think about what was the impact on your technical staff and what was the impact on your customers. I cannot hear you, which I would love, but maybe David, you have experienced it somewhere in the past?
Yes, well, as you may know, I used to run a network in the UK called Boundless, and yeah, it happened probably more than I realized, actually. But when we were targeted, it was
And
horrific. We
how was
got
it?
we had 100 terabytes of data thrown at our network, and it took down half of Hurricane Electric in the UK. And somebody wanted €3,000 or something like that. It was a horrible, horrible experience. And I spent £28,000 putting in defenses afterwards, which were too late.
Wow, £28,000.
Yes.
Okay. This is not nice case. Sorry to hear that. So today I will talk about much quieter and less impactful attack. The attack took place 2 weeks ago during the UK WISPA meet in London. It targeted 40 of our ISP customers of ISPs, mostly in Czechia and Austria. The attack usually took usually 2 to 40 minutes, the length of the attack, but it happened repeatedly, not once, but several times during the day, then the next day, and the day after that. Then, fortunately, they finished. It was a carpet bombing type of attack. That means that attack didn't target one IP address, one service, but it targeted the whole IP range of the ISP. The impact was it's a denial of service type of attack. So it targeted to the core routers. They didn't handle well the number of connections. They didn't perform well then, the core routers. And as a consequence, they usually resulted in outages for all of the customers of the ISP. So the impact wasn't long, but it was heartfelt. Okay. In this case, this was easy attack, and it was easy to stand it out. Just most of the ISPs just waited, then it finished, and then when they continued business as usual. But there is another way, which another portion of customers took, and they opened a tool, a flow cutter, and they looked inside, and they were able to see who attacked them and how they were attacked. And the next time they were prepared, of course. It's a value when you know who is attacking you and how is attacking you. But what is the problem? Because it is not the case that the attack targeted only 40 of our customers. They actually attacked 400 customers. You can see the penetration of the market in Czechia from that numbers. Okay, but the issue is that most of the operators, they rely only on few data sources for troubleshooting, for monitoring their networks. Number one is the SNMP data, usually visualized in tools like Zabbix or Nagios or something else, but it's SNMP data. So it's data which contains information about CPU on the router, number of traffic per port, and that's all. It's not very detailed data. Then they have always option to log in to the router and see from some interface in that particular router or switch what is happening there. But it's also not a lot of data, and there is no history usually. And then you probably have some synthetic measurements such as ping, latency. All of that is useful. All of that is the very basis, and everybody should do that. But in many cases, it is also not enough to find the root cause. And this kind of attack is the example. So now it is a good place where to talk and define what Netflow means. Netflow is the very detailed information about user and server and the content interactions. It is, in practice, it is a huge data set, and it contains every connection that is made. And about every connection, there is information about how much bytes, how much packets were transferred, of course, but also about source IP address and port and destination IP address and port and protocol. For example, if some of your customers is browsing websites, it contains destination IP of the web server. It contains destination port 443 for HTTPS service. And it also contains source IP address of the customer and the port that the router assigned him when he made the connection. And in this case, TCP is the kind of protocol that is used. So this is the Netflow data. An advantage number one is that it is very detailed and it gives you complete visibility into who is communicating with whom in your network. Not just your devices, but your customers as well. The disadvantage is that it is a lot of data. However, there are tools that can handle that. So Flowcutter and the part of the Flowcutter, which is the troubleshooting part or the Netflow analysis part, it gives you the tool to visualize, to get insight into the traffic, into these user-server interactions. And by that, it can give you answer to the real root cause analysis, to finding attackers, and it can do it in real time. So now is the place where I finally start sharing the screen with you about what was really happening. Okay, so David, can you confirm that you see Grafana?
Yes. Yeah, I can see the graph now. Yeah.
Okay, I will take. So now I will show the real example. And first, I want to disclaim the data are anonymized. It is not legal for me to show you real user interactions. That would be against the law. So dataset is anonymized. But other from that, this is actually a real use case that happened 2 weeks ago, and the volume of the data and the type of the attack, this is the use case that happened. There is nothing synthetic about what I'm going to show you. So I will start with this graph. It shows you something that you are familiar with. It is the amount of traffic and amount of packets per second. It shows the graph from 5 a.m. In the morning to 8, 9 a.m. in the morning. Traffic grows because people are waking up, listening to radio on the breakfast, listening to podcast on their trip to work. Yeah, nothing unusual with that. So if I zoom out and I will select, I will look at the few hours after that. And now you can see in here something happened. This, by the way, you would not be able to see that in Zabbix. Yeah, there is some shift, there is some change, but Zabbix is not going to fire any trigger for that. The change is too small for that. But here on the right side, it is actually much more interesting. These numbers you are not able to see in Zabbix or if you log into the device. It is number of connections, number of flows per second, and number of IP pairs, source and destination communicating pairs. And as you can see that normally it is around 5,000 pairs, connections per second. For your network, it might be 10,000, it doesn't matter. But all of a sudden, you can see it wasn't 5,000, but 80,000. It grew up 40 times. So it's definitely anomaly. This part is definitely anomaly. What I do next for the troubleshooting, I simply zoom in into anomaly because I want to analyze it. I want to see what kind of interactions were present in the network during this anomaly, when it was happening. And I will scroll down and see analysis of the data along different dimensions. So here you can see split according to source country, origin of the traffic. Already here we can see some anomaly. The ISP for which data I'm demonstrating on it was from Czech Republic. So most of the traffic normally is from Czechia or United States. That's the normal situation. but all of a sudden, most of the traffic comes from Netherlands. That already is an anomaly worth investigating. But we can look even further. We can look at the source autonomous systems from which other peering partners comes the traffic. And in this case, it comes from AS situated in Netherlands, or at least the headquarters. And the AS name is IP Volume Incorporated. And clearly, most of the traffic, all of a sudden, most of the connections, not actually the traffic, that was the tricky part. The traffic actually went down during the anomaly, during the attack, but the number of connections jumped 40 times. And most of them come from this AS. Next step within the analysis, would we filter out traffic from just this autonomous system? So this is number of this AS number, as you know it. So now I filter out just traffic from this AS. You would not be able to do this operation to filter out just traffic from this AS on any other of your monitoring tools and do it in real time. And now we are looking at the traffic during 80 connections per second. So we are filtering out through hundreds of millions of records. And you see, I am doing it in real time. Nobody is sweating. And here I can see analysis of what were the top source IP addresses. And here are 4 of them, which cover majority of these connections in millions of connections within this 30 minutes of anomaly. They made millions of connections, and these are top destination IP addresses. You can see they went through the whole prefix IP range of the ISP one by one, or randomizedly one by one. And with each of them, they attempt to do 44,000 connections. I can go deeper, or maybe I will state that at this point, I know who attacked me. I know exactly who attacked me and how I can mitigate the attack. If I want to know even more, or the attack would be a distributed attack, I would need to know more, and that's why you have also information about top protocols and top source and destination ports, and I have information about that. In this case, I don't need that information, but in many cases I would. What is interesting, for example, in here, I can see that most of the packets were contained just the SYN flag. So it means it was connection attempts. This is the book example of the TCP SYN flag. This is type of attack, which are very well known. And they are, of course, common. And there are many kinds of attacks. So this was the example. I will start sharing the screen from the presentation again. Okay. Okay.
That's it.
Good.
Okay. Thank you, David. Okay. So what happened, or what happened 2 weeks ago? Now it took us 3 minutes to demonstrate it because I was explaining a lot, but normally it would took 30 seconds to analyze this kind of attack. So we are immediately able to detect or to say who is attacking us, in what kind of method was used for the attack. It was the SYN flag kind of attack. And that is exactly the information you need to mitigate the attack. In this case, it was simpler, so you can just put all the traffic from this IP address or from this AS to the remotely triggered black hole, and you are safe. If the attack was different, you would need different kind of mitigation, but you would always need the information how to mitigate it. And this is this information. The very natural question, what you might be asking right now, is that I'm not all the time sitting at my computer and looking at the graphs and analyzing traffic. Can the software detect it automatically for me? And that is correct question. And the answer is yes. Flowcutter has the solution for that, and it is volumetric DDoS detection or anomaly detection. It detects volume changes in your network. They are tailored for each type of attack. We look at the SYN flood as example, but the attack can be done via NTP protocol, via SNMP protocol. It can be done via UDP flood using DNS packets. There are different kinds of attacks, and each have different attributes. So detection is tailored per each attack. And most importantly, it is completely adaptive. You will not need to input any manual threshold, any domain information about your network. Our product works in a manner that it looks at the traffic, it learns the patterns of your network, and then when the behavior of the network deviates from the usual patterns, then it alerts you. So it's completely adaptive. You don't need to do anything. And as Philip said in the early, now we are working for this to be completely automated. Your kind of work would be, yes, please detect anomalies, detect DDoS anomalies, enter, and that's it. No other information. You don't need to spend hours setting it up. Okay, so we finished first use case, incoming DDoS. You can be prepared for that. Now I put here a little bit aggressive visualization because so far we talked about incoming attacks. They are not often, they are noisy, they are well understood. Some of you might already have some tools in place. It's not that they are not important, but they are not that much important because, and now comes the anomaly. I want to tell you little analogy. When the tiger is nearing you, is closing to you with the intention to kill you and eat you, you know about that. And when he kills you, it's noisy and it's not a pleasure experience. On the other hand, I haven't experienced it since I'm sitting here. On the other hand, let's talk about jaguar. Jaguar is the also predator from the Amazonian jungle. And when jaguar attacks you, you never know about it. It's from behind. He's very sneaky. You cannot hear it. He jumps from above. He targeted your neck. He bites it. It splits your spine, and you are immediately dead without any pain. Perfect death. So I don't want you to focus on the death part, but on the fact that it was very sneaky. And this is what I want to illustrate about not incoming attacks, but about outgoing attacks, and especially not just from your devices that you don't know about, but from the outgoing attacks from your customers. So the question is, does an outgoing attack from your customers influence you in any way? Does it influence you as an operator, your technical staff? Does it influence other of your customers? And soon you will hear the answer. I would like to add before that another interesting statistics. And this statistics you cannot find anywhere. It's our internal research we did on selected ISPs, and we analyzed 3 days in deep. We did it very deeply, very deep analysis of 3 days of the normal traffic, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, normal days. And we find out that at 71% of our customers selected, 70% of them had at all time at least one attacker inside their network. And in none of these cases, none of these majority knew about that. I thought it was very interesting. It doesn't mean that they are bad operators. They are actually very good and very clever and hardworking guys. But this attack, it usually consists, or it usually it's usually about, or I can actually have this concrete number, 0.008% of the total traffic. That's the amount of traffic of bytes transferred within this attack. So it's completely normal that they don't know about that. You cannot see it in SNMP data. So now I will go through 2 examples, Open DNS port and malware on IP Smart Camera. And I will show you what is the impact and how you can see it in the Netflow data. So open port to the internet. What does it mean to your customers? It is oftentimes the use case when it happens, especially when you have the option for your customer to buy from you the whole public IP address. When you provide the public address to your customer, he has much more options to set it up, to mess it up for you. When he opens DNS port on his public IP to the internet, what happens? Not immediately, but within 30 minutes or maybe few hours most, there will be flowing reflexive attack through that port. And they used specific method, reflexive DNS DDoS attack. It's the name. I can briefly explain how it works. We have to zoom out. Now, don't consider the customer at the ISP, don't consider ISP. Let's consider just the attacker and the target. Target can be, for example, banking system, internet banking, and some other country. And the attacker can be some group in Russia or other countries. There is other attacker in all countries. And the attacker has in his disposal the botnet of devices that he infected, and he has control over these devices. And this botnet of devices, let's say 10,000 devices, all of them send DNS requests, and they send it to the open ports which they were able to see in the internet. And one of them, not all of them, but just one of them happens to be one of your customers in your network. They don't use just one, they use hundreds or thousands of these open ports. So the DNS request arrives to your customer, to the local MikroTik. It resolves the DNS requests and sends the answer. The problem is that the metadata of the DNS requests contains wrong information about who asked the questions. And the information that is written in the packet, who asked, is actually the IP address of the target, of the bank in the different country. So all of these packets amplified by all of the resolvers are then targeted to the bank. So this is the reflexive amplification DDoS attack using DNS protocol. That's the definition. When it happens, the IP address of these resolvers will end up blacklisted several times or multiple blacklist. If the link is the bandwidth is high, that it can even saturate your links. For example, if this customer with the OpenDNS port is in some remote region which is connected with a radio signal, with the radio wave connection, and for example the link can be even asymmetric, it can lead to saturation of this saturation of this link, causing immediate problems of other customers within the region. But even if this is not the case, even if it's just the case of this one IP address, it influences other of your customers. How does it happen? Sooner or later, not just one IP address end up in the blacklist, but the whole prefix or the IP range of the ISP provider ends up in the blacklist. What does it mean for your customers? One of the first entities that will realize that and that will limit your customers are, for example, internet banking, our banks and financial associations. They are high on security. So if some IP is in the blacklists, they deny access to internet banking. So your customers will be not able to log in and send payment that they hurry up on. And they have no idea, no way how to see what is happening. All of a sudden, they can watch YouTube videos. Internet seems to be working, but they are not able to log into bank. And from their point of view, they have no idea how to do it. They cannot troubleshoot it. Even if they call your support, your call center, you would have to be a clever guy to figure it out that, maybe it can be blacklist. It's never the first thought. Usually what happens is that they look at the router, they check the latency is okay, that the traffic is flowing, nothing seems to be bad. It's really difficult to troubleshoot what is the root cause. But if they have Netflow data, they can troubleshoot it immediately. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So I will share the screen again with the demonstration of the data. Okay. Okay. So now I'm back at the demo. I will choose different time period. I will choose previous day. Let's say from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Afternoon to night. Okay, previous day, traffic from afternoon to night. If I zoom into traffic, it seems completely normal. It starts around 3-4 gigabits after lunch, and during the evening when everybody is watching Netflix and HBO, it is 7 gigabits per second. Nothing special about that. Seems completely reasonable. Since now we are trying to illustrate DNS open ports, I will make a trick which you will only be able to do with Flowcutter. And now I will filter out just DNS responses, because we are talking about OpenDNS ports, about reflective attack, and this is how I focused on this behavior. So now I filtered from all of the traffic, from all these 7 gigabits per second, I filter out just these 50 gigabits per second, so really small portion, so that I zoom in on just this particular problem. And now I'm able to see that there is some anomaly. It is not huge, but let's analyze it, because I want you to see how it looks like. So I will zoom in into the anomaly. And nothing interesting in the source country, Czechia, United States. These are actually typical AS in Czechia. So nothing interesting in here. If I look at the top source IP addresses, that means resolvers, addresses that send DNS responses. So by definition, resolvers. I can see this is the resolver of the ISP, primary, this is the tertiary and secondary. This is the Google resolver, this is the cloud resolver, but this, you can see it is the, I will zoom in. This is private IP address. This is one of the customers. He has public IP. It is using not one-to-one, so it has public IP. And it definitely shouldn't be there. So what we actually did, we found out that some of the customer behaves as a DNS resolver. Now I filter out just DNS responses from this particular customer. I can see that he communicated mainly with these 3 IP addresses. They are from Hong Kong, from Amazon. And this is already more than enough information for me to just call him or limit him on the router, on the firewall, so that I can resolve the situation. And this is actually my point. I will go back to presentation. Yes. What happened? I found there was a misconfiguration on a home router. The customer or the ISP called the customer. Yes, it is wrong. I don't intend to send DOS attack to Hong Kong. It is no business of mine. I don't know about that. So they were able to mitigate it. Already this IP was reported 10 times to the blacklists, but just this one IP. So in this case, they resolved it fast. The ISP sent few emails to clear the IP address from the blacklist, and it was resolved. But this was actually the good case. The bad case would happen if it stayed like this for weeks. And it is completely possible and common because you have no way to know that it is happening. If it stayed like this, for example, for a few days, the whole IP range would end up in the blacklist and resulted in all the things I already talked about. So if you provide public IP address to your customers, it is a potential risk for you. It doesn't mean that you should stop doing it. It just means that you should think about how to resolve the situation, to find out what is happening sooner, so that you can resolve it sooner than later, because it is much cheaper and it won't impact the rest of your customers. That is my point. So what is the solution for that? Because normally ISPs are not able to see this behavior. The solution is, again, anomaly detection as a part of the flow cutter. It is tailored for each anomaly, including outgoing attack using DNS, which we look at, and it is adaptive and automatic, as we talked about DDoS attacks. The same situation stands up here. Another solution that we are using, or that flow cutter software provides, is the open port scan. It has nothing in common with the Netflow data. You can imagine as an automated Nmap with a connection to the Grafana and nice visualization and alerting. Does the Nmap kind of thing, the open port scan every night. It scans the IP range, see what IPs, what hosts have which ports open, and then it allows you to set up alert. For example, when you have just 2 resolvers, DNS resolvers for your network, primary and secondary, and there is another 2 open DNS ports with your IP range, you should be notified and know about that. So this is a simple solution. that can help you deal with this kind of problem. Okay, so open DNS port to the internet on public IP, you can be prepared for that. Another use case, I will go very briefly through that because I already showed it on the UK WISPA conference, was that infected IP smart camera at a customer actually can damage the IP reputation of the whole prefix in the same manner. Each of your customers have multiple devices at their home. Each of these devices can be infected. Once device is infected, it is in control of somebody else. It can be in control of an attacker. It can be included into the botnet. There will be outgoing attacks from your network by definition. And it is the reputation of the IP address, even if you are sharing one public IP address with multiple home connections. It stands the same. And it influences other customers. It's difficult to troubleshoot, and it influences you and your customers. You should know about it. So malware at home devices, the same story. So outgoing floods or attacks and botnets from your customers, and you can be prepared for that as well. So now we are heading to final part, and I will be more brief because already my voice hurts. And I will go very briefly through the question if are there any other visibility blind spots that are common for internet providers. And my answer is definitely yes, if you care first about compliance and about cybersecurity of your infrastructure or your enterprise customers. So I will talk about your infrastructure and about enterprise customers as well. So we'll go through three things: data retention policy, vulnerability assessment, and security as a service. And let's start with the data retention. Philip mentioned it at the beginning. Data retention is a code word for the mandatory policy of many governments around the world, definitely also in Europe, which oblige internet providers to collect information about who, which home, which user is communicating with which service. And fortunately, or it is not the accident, it is the case. This is actually the same data we are using for troubleshooting, for anomaly detection, for identifying attacker. It is the same data. So if you are using Flowcutter for troubleshooting, you are already compliant with the mandatory data retention policy in your country. It's only a matter of for how long you store the data. Flowcutter can store it for a few days. It can store it for years. It depends. Each country has a different mandatory policy and this data retention period. So with this covered, let's look at another topic let's look at the software vulnerabilities. Let's say you are providing web interface to your customers so that they can look at if they pay the invoice, they can download the invoice from just simple website. If you are providing website facing internet, it is programmed somewhere. It is programmed, let's say, using PHP, some programming language. It usually uses some framework, for example, Nete or WordPress. It uses a web server, Apache, for example, and it's using operating system, so Linux. So already we are using such simple thing. There are 5 softwares which can be vulnerable, which can contain software vulnerabilities, and it is possible to attack them. The same stands for routers, for switching, for service ports, for any rack servers, for anything that is facing internet or other customers. So actually, your all infrastructure can be vulnerable to cyber attacks, and it's a good idea to know about that. I hope that nobody will argue with this, that you should know when you are vulnerable. And this is exactly what this Flowcutters feature aims at. It scans your infrastructure, all IP addresses in your infrastructure. It does it regularly every week. They found out vulnerabilities. If you had all Apache version and it is related to some CVE, it finds it out. It logs it in. It presents it in the nice user interface. It is completely auditable. You can look at the history. And it assigns its severity so that when there is a lot of findings in your network, you can prioritize it, what to attack first and what can wait for later. So this is very useful and very helpful. And maybe last thing I will add to vulnerability assessment is that even if you today update all your routers or your software, it doesn't mean that the next month there will be new vulnerability developed. And if you are not active in cybersecurity community and you don't consume all the security feeds, you don't know about this new vulnerability. And next month you can be vulnerable and don't know about it. On the other hand, if you know about it, you can proactively change a little bit the configuration, each CVE usually within the few days when it is uncovered. There is a manual how to prevent it, but you have to know about it. This is the first step. So visibility is the key. Okay, that was the vulnerability. And the very last subject is not related to your operations, to your infrastructure cybersecurity. It's actually related to your enterprise customers. If you have enterprise customer, they face very similar challenges as you do. They have usually public IP addresses. They have some public-facing services, so they can be vulnerable. There can be attacks, volumetric attacks, incoming to them or outgoing from them. And it is definitely useful for them to know about these things. And you as an internet service provider, are in a unique position to provide those enterprise customers network visibility and cybersecurity as a service. You can use it to make the relationships with the customers more deeper so that you don't lose them in the future. You can charge them more because this service definitely has a value, especially in Europe, because there is a lot of regulation concerning cybersecurity for enterprise, even the medium and small enterprises. For example, the vulnerability scan is based on my knowledge, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not the expert. I'm just a physicist that likes technical stuff and network traffic. But as long as I know, for example, the vulnerability assessment is the necessary part for NIS2 EU regulation, for the Cybersecurity Resilience Act. So I think that if you provide this to your customers, it is definitely value to them. And you are in a unique position to provide this service to them more cheaply than anybody else, because you already sit at their perimeter. It costs you nothing more if you already have Flowcutter to provide them this service. As Philip said at the beginning, this feature is under development. We already have prototype, but we aim to release it in the production next year. So today you are not able to do it, but we think it will be very valuable, and we account with this feature for the next year. So you will be automatically, again, with a few clicks, able to provide credentials, beautiful dashboards for your customers where they can see traffic upload, download, where the traffic originates, what ports are open, what vulnerabilities internet can see on their perimeter, and maybe some other things. I think it is valuable, and you will be able to do that. So if you have demanding enterprise customers, you can be prepared for that next year. And that's it. That's everything for me. Thank you for attention. Philip, you can continue.
Yeah. So I will take the last part, and I will be very quick because we are running, or we are out of time. So here is the maybe good point to answer Tim's question. If Flowcutter can be hosted on-prem, or is it requires a based OS, or I will tell you the hardware requirements. So it's on-prem. It can be installed on or deployed on bare metal or VM. So it doesn't matter. We'll send you the hardware requirements. All you need to do is to prepare the just the hardware with OS Debian 12. Then second stage is deployment, setup of the system. It takes 120 minutes or 2 hours of our technicians' time. It's not your. It doesn't need your actions to do anything. We'll install it for you. Then you need to just forward the traffic from those core routers, which are able to send the Netflow data on specific port. We will guide you how to do it, and then you can just test our solution for free for 14 days. No need to do more or less. We will install it for you. We need only from you the hardware and access to this hardware. So it's not hard for you to start with a Flowcutter. And Matthew, please, second slide. Okay, what are the takeouts from this presentation? Let me leave you with one key idea. Attacks happen. That's what we know. But most issues we see, downtime, slow speed, angry customers, are preventable if you detect them early. The real cost isn't the incident itself. It's the delay in responding and your reputation. Cybersecurity today, it's not about being, it's about being prepared, not just reacting. So that's the whole presentation was about the being prepared, be right in the spot when something is happening, and see and have eyes in your network. That's how we can help you. Okay, second or last slide we have is the when you, or if this resonates with you, we'd love to show you Flowcutter in action. So we're offering free proof of concept POC trial for 14 days. So please contact us, scan this QR code. It will direct you onto our webpage where you can fill in your information, and we'll contact you shortly. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. That was really insightful, and it's great to see how Netflow data gives just a different picture of the world than the conventional systems. I used to use PRTG and similar systems, which are great at showing you generally what's happening. And what you showed brilliantly there, Mate, is the volume of traffic isn't the whole picture. It's what's going on underneath, and that was a great example. And what you're saying there at the end, Philip, it's much better to avoid problems than to fix problems. Yeah. And this is all about avoiding those problems from occurring. You know, you can, and I did this myself. You jump to fix the next problem, you spend money on it, but actually the damage is done at that point, and it costs more to deal with it, and it's so much nicer, and it's much easier to sleep at night and at the weekends when your customers aren't complaining. And we certainly saw from IP blacklisting the kind of things that used to hit our support center were things where people couldn't get onto PlayStation Network or in some cases streaming media, and those are the things that matter. You know, if some kid can't get onto their PlayStation 5 or their Xbox, you know, all hell breaks loose. I mean, they'll tear the house down trying to fix that. And, you know, they ring the ISP and the ISP will blame the supplier. You know, the bank example, that the ISP will blame the bank. There's something wrong with the bank. Everything else works, so it must be the bank. Well, you know, anyway, some great examples there. So thank you very much for that. We're a little bit light on time, but there are a couple of questions I wanted to run through, if I may. Whilst I do that, if anybody in the audience has any further questions, please use the Q&A or raise a hand and I can put you on there. So there is the obvious UK Whisper question, which is how much does it cost? And I'm already seeing here, actually, you could make money from it in some cases. So, you know, if you're using cybersecurity as a service. But you know, cost range, and I guess it's not, you know, it's not an off-the-shelf product that has a fixed price. So, what's the starting point?
Okay, starting point is for smaller networks, or we can say small ISPs. For 200 euros. Okay, and it's based on, or price list is based on number of traffic, like average traffic, like in gigabits per second, or number of flows per second. So if there will be, or somebody is like want to see the price, please contact me, send me the average traffic per second, what you recognize, and we'll give you the price. But the starting point is 200 euros.
So
a month.
couple hundred a month, bring your own hardware,
Couple hundred a month.
and away you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And you gave some examples there, some specific examples, Matty, about DNS, about inbound and outbound. What are the kind of anomalies or attacks can Flowcutter help with? Is that it, or are there more?
Okay. Yes, there are definitely much more. The incoming attacks, which we can name, you have TCP, TCP kind of attacks, SYN flood, ASK flood, reset flood, using UDP protocols, SNMP, NTP, DNS, and many others. We recognize in between 15 and 20 kind of these attacks. Regarding the outgoing, there can be outgoing attacks on Telnet, SSH, SNMP, again, protocol, all of them. And maybe one important note, Netflow data is not just about perimeter. Most of the routers, for example, MikroTiks, are able to export Netflow data. So if there is MikroTik inside the network, you can export the NetFlow from inside the network, and you can detect anomalies inside network. Scanning, brute force attack, these kind of attacks.
Okay, cool. And you mentioned some new features that are coming along as well, and multi-tenancy. Does that affect the price, the cost?
No.
All these features are like included in this price structure.
So it's going to get better and better with time.
Yeah, that is our philosophy. Always provide the best solution for ISP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of like the idea of the resolving DNS thing as well. The example that you gave earlier. Most clients wouldn't be aware of the fact, and they'd probably be quite horrified that they've done something wrong. You know, it's actually adding quite a bit of value to them because it puts quite a lot of strain on their equipment as well. And I've done it myself. I've configured MikroTik routers and left it open by mistake. And you only find out when something goes wrong. And it doesn't normally take too long. So another question from Tim has just come through. Thanks, Tim. How does FlowCutter deal with duplicate flows? For example, a flow is submitted from multiple routers along a path.
Mm-hmm. We identify streams of Netflow. We assign them identification. So you can identify it on a different level based on source of the Netflow. So it doesn't do the duplication, but you can filter it out so that you can see it one connection just once. So
Yes, you
don't
can
worry
filter it
about
out
that.
based on the exporter of the Netflow.
Yeah. So it's kind of normal. It's prepared
Yes.
to deal with that type of scenario by the sound of it. Okay. And another question there from Ahmed. Can the solution detect DNS leaks over UDP port 53?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by DNS leaks.
Okay.
Never mind.
Ahmed, would you like me to open up the mic so that you can tell us what you mean there? Don't need to if you're not
or maybe
comfortable.
send it via email.
I've unmuted you then, Ahmed.
Okay.
You can tell us what you mean.
Okay. Can you hear me, gentlemen?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So what I meant here actually, there are some certain traffic actually, which usually certain companies. I would say I wouldn't name any company here, like antiviruses, for example, are passing it actually to their headquarters to be examined. And I have noticed actually, based on my experience, that those particular files, if they pass through DLP solutions, usually blocks them. And what those companies are using usually to slice the file itself in several chunks and pass it through UDP port 53 to their headquarters so they can be tested in their sandboxes. So I'm not sure if you can have such particular visibility.
Partially, yes. I will explain it. What you are describing, Ahmed, is, or I know it under different name. I know it under exfiltration of the data. If you are looking at the Metre kill chain matrix, it is exfiltration of the data. It can be done using different protocols, and DNS is one of them, and it's very it is obvious choice for this practice. We don't do this for ISPs because it's very detailed. It is usually case of the enterprises, of the banks, so that some of their employees is not uploading some internal databases. This is the case. So usually enterprises want to detect this. It can be detected. So, and now answering your question, if we set up very sensitive detection for this use case, it will be able to detect, because what would be the change is the average number of bytes per
That's
1
true. That's
packet.
true. That's how it is actually.
That's how it is. So we would be able to detect it, but so far no ISP asked us for. But in principle, yes. In reality, so far we don't have it in production. But we are accounting for that, and we plan to the future to include it. But it's not a priority number one, for example, to be honest.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the question, and thank you, Matti, for the answer. We've overrun a little bit on time, so I'm going to call the session to an end. I think it's been fascinating. We've had some great feedback already. This will be recorded and available to replay later on. We'll get that published through the UK Whisper Forum, hopefully later on this evening. So I'd like to warmly thank Matti and Philip for joining us from FlowCutter, and also everyone who joined this this call today. I hope you found it useful. Please reach out to Philip and Matej if you want to try it. It's a great offer there to make use of it free for a couple of weeks. And we look forward to seeing everybody again in our next UK Whisper at Home event. Thank you all and have a safe day.
Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.